All right, Erin. So you just passed the PMP. How do you
Yeah,
feel?
relieved, and just a lot more confident
All
um,
right.
in myself and
That,
knowledge. So,
that's good. That's really, really good. I know that this has been a long, long journey. How long has it been? How many days, I guess you'd say?
I think we started like 3.5 weeks ago.
Okay, so that's not bad. Like three and a
Yeah,
half weeks. Yeah, done. That's faster than most people do about anything, especially
yeah.
PMP. So that's cool. And what did you know before you started studying with the PMP, as far as like PMP related stuff? Like, what did you
I
know?
knew the test was hard, and and I knew that there was a lot of like situational questions, so I'd have to kind of
Yeah.
put myself in that place to answer the questions. It wasn't anything that I could memorize.
Cool. But you hadn't done any like overhead studying, like you haven't done a lot of studying. It was like straight in from the cold, right? Basically.
Yeah, I don't think I've studied in like 10 years. Anything.
Okay. Anything, yeah.
Anything. So
All
this
right,
was my
cool.
first shot back in the ring. So.
There you go. So you did well. Now, when you started studying, like, what was the biggest like how was the study process for you? I know like a lot of people expect it to be straight up linear, like everything's great, but how did it go for you to get to this point where you're like successful and happy and all that stuff? How did it go?
I think the first couple of days when I did a lot of like the videos,
Mhm.
watching, I think it was a little bit of an adjustment. It was a
Yeah.
little exhausting just sitting there to and taking everything in. But then when we started meeting in the group sessions, it didn't feel as exhausting, knowing that like other people were in the same boat as me, and then being able to talk, having like the mix of like lessons and then going through the questions as a group, took a little bit of that, like, I guess, exhaustion away.
Right. Yeah. And it's new for you. Like you said, you hadn't studied in 10 years or something like that for anything. I mean, you're like raising a family, running a career, doing all that stuff. And then you're like thrown into a class. So it can be for anybody like, whoa, an adjustment. Like I have to learn a new world. And so that's a little
Yeah.
weird. Now, as you know you're a successful PMP at this point, like what is the big thing, like if somebody's coming in here, what's the one thing you would want them to know, like that you realize now about what helped you be successful? Is there something specific?
I would say it's just to keep going back to the videos. Keep
Mhm.
For me it was, when we went through the lessons, it was really helpful. But then on my when I went through and studied on my own, it was taking quizzes and finding out where my weak spots were, and then going back and really focusing in those areas, in those deep dive videos.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Now, how was the exam today? Like what was it like intimidating, scary? How did you feel when you sat down?
Uh, I was a little bit nervous, just to as far as like time management, and I admittedly I did struggle with that a little bit. So
Hmm. Sorry.
I think I was trying to, early on in the test, I was like trying to be super thorough with reading the questions, and then I knew before I took my break that I had really only left myself like a minute for every question in the second half,
Okay.
which was a little unnerving. But I used some of like the techniques that we had talked about, context clues, things to look out for, and I think that really helped me to kind of move a little quicker
Hmm.
through the second half of the test. And yeah, I only had like about a minute per question, so I had to fly.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. I mean,
Yeah.
I finished in like 3 hours and 50 something minutes, so I didn't have much time to sit and relax at all. So that's pretty normal. That's pretty normal.
Yeah.
Now that you've passed, are you looking at your regular consulting or project work any differently now that you've studied this stuff? And if so, how so?
Yeah, actually, I've been kind of knee deep in a really big project that just kept getting progressively bigger, since May. So it was actually really helpful, one, to like go through the videos and the lessons, because I could take and I could pinpoint a lot of areas where, oh, I should have done that, or
Ah.
that would have been helpful. So, which was kind of painful at the same time, to know that, things could have been different, but it was helpful because now when I go forward with other projects, of course, not everything is going to, fit nicely into little boxes, but it's going to be really helpful to take what I learned and plug it back into my actual project work.
Yeah, that's really great. That's kind of like the hidden benefit, if you do it right, of studying this stuff, that you start realizing, oh goodness, I can make the world a little bit better than I'm living in if I just did this stuff. And then it'll waver back and forth. Like we try to do things and some things work and don't work. And it's just, it's a game. So that's how it
Yes.
goes. That's really, really cool. Now you mentioned the calls a lot. So, how did the calls help you, and describe kind of like the experience and like jumping into those things, if you don't mind?
Yeah. So I think I had a couple different experiences with the calls. So, we had like our kind of sessions with like the small group calls.
Yep.
And then there was the calls that were kind of later at night where we ran questions as kind of a really large group.
Yeah.
I would say the smaller groups were more beneficial to me. There was a couple of times where like the larger groups, kind of uncovered an issue that I had been struggling with too. But I think for the way that I study best was kind of smaller groups.
Yeah, that's reasonable. And we even did like a super small group, just you and I this week. So
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, occasionally we'll do that. So that's cool. Yeah, and it's all depending on, some people like the conversation, and they don't want to talk, and they just want to sit here and listen and do all that stuff and participate that way. So yeah, throwing it in there a bunch of different ways. That's pretty cool. Awesome. Now that you're done, what are you going to do with all this free time that, a couple hours a day that you were spending studying?
Catch up on my pile of things back there that were sitting for like 3 weeks. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. It'll just be kind of nice to have this extra time with my family and kids and get them ready for the school year. So
that's cool. And like over the 3 weeks, so like 3 weeks, you were still working full time, correct?
yes.
Full time, kids, husband, family, all this stuff, and you studied, and you went on vacation for a little
Yeah.
while. Forgot about that one. How much time per day roughly did you study, do you think?
Wow. A lot. So I think it kind of ebbed and flowed, but usually I would get up and study in the morning before work. So from like 7 to 8:30.
Okay.
And then I would work until like we had our class at like 4, finish that by 6, do like dinner and bedtime with my kids. And then I would come back from like 8 or 8:30 to like 9:30 for a session. And I did that for a whole week.
Yeah.
And then I kind of slowly kind of took it down a little bit once I knew where to focus by studying a little bit more, but that was exhausting.
Yeah, it's not so bad. I mean, yeah, it was a little bit of time. You guys put it in there. The one thing with like your little group is like I felt like I had to tell you, like, don't study, slow down, stop doing so. Like everybody's like super type A, where it's a different problem to have from a teacher side, but yeah, slowing you guys down was hard. Cool. If you don't want to talk about this, we don't have to talk about this. But one thing I noticed, I kept saying like, hey, I think you got it. I think you got it. I think you got it. But like, it took a while to convince you. Why did it take a while to convince you? Is that just a personal thing, or you want to be perfect, or what was it?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to go into like taking and preparing shooting for a 61.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to like build in some cushion. So even though I thought, oh, I can get a 61, that's not what I was. And we'll see when I got my questions back how close I got to that. But I think I was shooting for higher. So I think I needed my confidence level to be a little bit higher than just passing. I wanted to do well. So.
Right. Yeah, personal accountability thing. Yeah. So what role do you think, if any, that your internal confidence plays in like your success on the exam? Is it all just know the material, or does personal confidence, another thing, play a role?
I think it plays probably 60% of it is your confidence. So
Okay.
I was a little late to the game. But I actually noticed I had put off scheduling the test for a long time because I was like, I want to hit that 80% or whatever mark. I wanted that cushion. And I wanted to be sure of that. But once I scheduled the test, I kind of had this like weight lifted off of me, and I was like, well, I'm taking the test on that day. I'm taking the test. So it is what it is. And it actually helped just to schedule the test for me personally.
Okay.
That uncertainty taken away of when I'm going to take it.
That's cool. Cool. That's good. And there's 7 from your little organization that went through. You're the 6th of 7. So we got one more. She's going to do good. did it help at all knowing that like 5 had passed before you and like, you know, I don't know what did Jenna do it in like 10 days or something like that? Like
She did it. Yeah, I think
9 or 10 days or something.
the 30th or the 31st. I think she took it.
Yeah. Did that help
Yeah.
or not? Or was it pressure personally?
Personally, I was really happy for everyone. Every time someone came in our group and they're like, I passed. But I think I shared that Megan and I shared this because we've been the last ones to take it after everyone kind of went through really quickly with it, that it was a lot of pressure knowing that. And I'm not envious of Megan right now because at least I'm not the last one, but it was a lot of pressure to do well. But sometimes pressure is good. Sometimes you need that kind of to get you to a place where you're like, okay, I'm going to do this because everybody else did it. So sometimes pressure can be good depending on, I think, your personality type.
I think so too. And you guys wanted to be so perfect that like, which is a good thing. I know you took it. That's a cool thing. It was not only that your company said, hey, we want you to do this for contractual purposes and personal development and company development and all those things, but you guys wanted to really learn. And that's the cool part that I saw with you all, is that you got better every week. You were really trying to apply it and you're like looking at things a little bit differently now. So that's, yeah, that's pretty cool. I think it's really, really great. So I really, really appreciate it. I think your accelerator success number either 55 or 56. So I appreciate that. No one can take you number 55 or 56 from you. So I appreciate it, Erin. You did an amazing job. I'm really proud of what you did. And it was really, really fast and you did really, really good. So it's pretty good. That's
awesome.
All right.
Thanks, Scott.
I'll talk to you later, Erin.
All
See ya.
right.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.